Hello,
All
mate.
right. Hello, Ben. How are
Hello.
you?
How you going?
I'm all right. How are you?
So should
Hey,
we, let's do the high five. Three,
all right. See if we get this
two,
right.
one,
You line it
go.
up.
Go.
Bang. Does that work? Here we go. Hey, how you going, folks? I'm Bryce Holdaway. He is Ben Kingsley. We are the co-hosts of the Property Couch, and Ben, we appreciate that lots of people are in isolation right now, all around the
Mm.
world. So what we thought we'd do today is we've got our best-selling book, The Armchair Guide to Property Investing, and we're going to go through chapter by chapter and explain some of the core concepts in this book because we've now sold over 20,000 copies of this book. We're really proud of a couple of things, Ben. One, when we wrote it, we wanted it to be evergreen in nature, didn't we, Ben? We didn't want it to be a moment in time. We didn't want it to just be a moment in time.
That's right. I mean, ultimately, the foundations and the principles in the book should be evergreen in regards to how you apply yourself to your money mindset and also organise your money, and then ultimately how you set up and invest for the long term. I mean, ultimately, it's all about land appreciation, the improvements on the land generating the income. And when you get past that, you look pretty good after, 10, 20 years of investing. You've got a nice little passive income for life, Bryce.
Exactly. So, folks, you're going to be in isolation. So we're going to provide some information, some content, and hopefully it's of benefit to you. But a couple of things, Ben. On page 32 of our book, we've got this pyramid where we take people on a bit of a journey, Ben, to show them how we step them up so that ultimately the goal of this book is to get to the real life case studies at the end, because we make a big, bold claim on our book, Ben. It's the Armchair Guide to Property Investing and how to retire on $2,000 per week passive income. That is six figures. And Ben, in a lot of cases, we talk about the fact that you don't need to have 10 plus properties. You don't need to renovate on the weekends. It's really just about getting rich slow.
Yep.
Our book is a get rich slow property investing book, isn't it? It's not a get rich quick book.
No, it isn't, Bryce. And ultimately, from where we stand, it builds momentum and it builds knowledge. And then, as we always talk about, we want you to take action on that knowledge as well. So it's a book we're very proud of because it'll basically be a book that you can pick up 20 years from now and should still be relevant. Property prices in there may not be, but in terms of the theory, it should be.
It's the only thing that's not evergreen. But on the back here, we've got from Effie Zahos, who's the Money Magazine editor, Nicola McDougall, who was the Australian Property Investor Magazine editor. These are at the time of publishing, and Neela Sweeney, who is the managing editor of the Your Investment Property Magazine. So we're really, really proud to get their input to say, hey, look, this is a foundational book that will help people in the 90s, in the 2000s, in the 2020s, Ben, and our goal is that this book will serve you in the 2050s because the concepts are evergreen. Hey, let's kick it off today. We're going to talk about chapter 1.
Yes.
And we're going to progressively work through chapter by chapter the whole book, Ben. So stick around, folks, if you want to get involved and let us know in any of the questions in the comments below. We'll be happy to answer those. But Ben, the first chapter is about building your own knowledge base. But in the lead up to that, we break it into three parts. The first part is the foundation, where we talk about the state of your mind plays with the state of your wallet. Now, if I quickly find part 2 is around the theory, and part 3 is around the action. So it's building the foundation. Part 2 is around giving you the information that helps you on that foundation, and then the last part is the knowledge is empowering, but only if you act on it. I think a wise person once said. So it's really about how you can do that. So at the beginning of the foundation. Go on.
I was going to say, when we were thinking about the structure of the book and how we were going to talk about that, the story behind that is really around the research that is out there around money and money mindsets and money management. And there's quite a lot of people who are quite confident about their ability to manage money. But I think you see in certain times that shows up in regards to challenges for household debt and what sort of buffers that they build and also how they go about that. And we've been really fortunate to interview thousands and thousands of people and to see, a lot of tens of thousands of household budgets to form a view that there are sort of two different camps. There's the camps of the people who have optimism and a mindset that is about openness and awareness, and an attitude to find that open and awareness and sort of build the knowledge around that. But there's also a camp that potentially based on their backstory and the household that they grew up in, where money was challenging, what they weren't in control of money, then they experienced a deficit in terms of confidence to be able to move forward in regards to their ability to transform their household's financial position. And so when we decided to write this first chapter, we needed to go to the heart of the reason. We needed to go to put everything on the table, a bit like a scene setting exercise that we've just talked about, understanding why we feel the way that we feel, the psychology of money, hence the state of the wallet plays with your state of mind, and that's no truer in times like today. So I think that was the scene setting bit. So it doesn't hit you with a wow, sexy, bang, this can transform your world. It's actually more of, you know what, we're going to have an honest conversation with you about some of the things that position you for foundation pillars that will then get you on this journey. And that's why we do talk a lot about that, what mindset are you starting with? Are you starting with a theory that anything's possible and you can have abundance if you work really hard, versus this is, surely this can't happen to me. Surely I'm not worthy of this, and those types of aspects. Right, Bryce?
Yeah, correct, mate. And I think it's a couple of good points that you make there. But two things that I want to set up as we go through this first chapter. One is one of the key topics that we talk about in our book, Ben, is investing in property is a process, not an event. And in our observation of doing this for the last 20 plus years, 22 years for me, a bit longer for you. You're a bit older than me, mate.
Just a little.
You know, a little T-shot.
I got it. Landed.
Is that a lot of people think that investing in property starts with going to the portals and searching for properties. And clearly, we'll go into this in chapter 3 of the book, where we're going to talk about our 5-step process. But we say that's step number 4, not step number 1. Yeah. So it's important that we get that concept to land, that investing in property is a process, not an event, because there are very, very important steps that you need to follow before you buy investment property. Because we'll go through this in terms of building the base in chapter 2, Ben, when we go through the psychology of investing, and we're going to talk about time target, income and expense, and some of the risk profiles in chapter 2. But chapter 1 is really about going, okay, we've got our headspace right. Have we got the right attitude towards money? Because Dave Ramsey said money is simple, behaviour is hard. We've seen that time and time and time again. Because here's a little secret, folks, and I don't want you to tell too many people, but the concepts in this book, Ben, are not rocket science.
Yeah.
It's probably primary school level reading. We'd like to think it's secondary level reading. The concepts within here.
We can only write at primary school level, Bryce. So.
So the fact is, if the concepts are so simple and they are straightforward, why isn't everyone doing it? It's because we let our head get in the way, don't we, Ben?
Yeah, look, and if anyone's got any questions about chapter 1, give us a little question, write some comments or fill it in, and we can hopefully get to answer maybe 1 or 2 of those as we go through the chapter.
Ben, you talked about the key concept of state of the wallet stays with the plate of the mind. Can you expand on that a little bit, just to? Do you want to
try that again? Did that come out right? Was it state of wallet plays with the state of your mind?
Oh, did I just the wrong way around?
Something like that. Anyway,
interesting.
Look, it does, and that is, it comes back to the core belief. And I had this when I was younger too, right? I grew up in a household where money controlled the household, right? And it was a tense topic to talk about. And so you have to work reasonably hard to rewrite that dialogue in your own mind about being able to control money, right? At the end of the day, money is a commodity, right? It's a commodity. It's the biggest commodity in the world outside, in my view, of love and happiness, right? Those commodities are priceless, and we should see more of those. But when we come back to fundamental finances and living, it's just a commodity, right? We work for it, we get it. It's bigger than oil, it's bigger than any other commodity in the world. So we need to learn a concept of how we can control it. And the concept of controlling money comes back to this idea that you still have to spend money to make money, but you also have to earn money to start that journey first. And the state of the wallet versus the state of the mind, when we feel like we've got a small balance or no money at all, it affects our behaviour, it affects our psychology, it affects our happiness. And so part of that is the one bit of passion that we have in terms of trying to make sure our community understands that. And on the other side of it is this false belief that most of us do it really well. Like if when we drill down to households and we have honest conversations where we're looking eyeball to eyeball for households and they're telling us, yeah, we've got this money thing, don't worry about that, just tell us about the investment thing. When we drill down and have honest conversations with people, we go, really? You've got this? Here's what's happening with your money. And they go, oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, I didn't do that. Oh, I only have, 1 month's supply of buffer and all those types of things. So there is, for some people, an overconfidence. For others, there's this lack of confidence around controlling money. And that's why Chapter 1 is just about fleshing out the concepts and the ideas, and then you taking away as a reader which pieces you need to be able to get to the openness, right? Because where we want you to land after the end of Chapter 1 is, I'm open. You've reset my mind to believe that there is possibility here. And then, okay, how do I now reframe my mind and my own dialogue around taking that money story forward? And that's where the rest of the book then starts to take shape.
Yeah, Ben, I think not enough attention is paid to anyone who wants to look after their financial well-being around money beliefs. The beliefs that are core within us that we see have the potential to actually make sure we stay on track if you've got the right beliefs, or be an invisible derailer that sometimes people cannot work while they have continual money problems. So we have Dr. Kathleen Gurney here on page 36, Ben. We quote Dr. Kathleen Gurney, who's a psychologist and specialist in people's money personalities. And in her book, Your Money Personality, she says, our feelings toward it are not static, but fluid, dynamic, and sometimes intense, Ben. We love it, hate it, we fear it, we worship it, we enjoy it, but never can we ignore it. And we also put on page 37 an interesting table around contrasting money attitudes and the conditioning. So, Ben, I'll go through the have-nots, and then maybe you can rip off the will-haves. But the have-nots tend to say, work harder to earn more, struggle financially, make ends meet, have a scarcity attitude, find money fearful and threatening, believe it's their place in life, place too much value on how hard it is to get money, emotional attachment that controls them. So that's the have-nots and the won't-haves that are having those stories and dialogues in their mind. But the will-haves, Ben, are a contrast to that.
Yeah, they're totally a contrast, Bryce. So the will-haves will say work less to earn more, live comfortably, feel enriched, have an abundant attitude, find money challenging, but also see it as an opportunity, believe anything is possible, value what money can, seek knowledge and advice to take action, that they can control it. So you can see the differences there that we're trying to articulate for the reader to see that journey. So if that makes any sense to you, give us some thumbs up. If it's good for you in terms of how you're starting to see the scene setting that we do in Chapter 1, to build out this confident piece to sort of say, if I'm negative, I'm now open. If I'm positive, I'm feeling excited around my money attitude and my money mindset to take action.
So in summary, Ben, there's a couple of key messages here that we want to say. Investing in property is a process, not an event. A goal without a date on it is a dream. So you need to be able to be very specific about what that looks like. We've talked about money is simple, behaviour is hard. Around the state of your wallet plays with the state of your mind. And then, of course, we all have different beliefs around money and so have a different outlook. So what we wanted to achieve in this chapter is largely just building a foundation around the fact that it's not just a case of buying something and getting on with it. There is a bit of foundational work within ourselves that we need to sort out, because if we don't, we've seen it time and time and time again where it becomes a derailer down the track. So Ben, on page 40 and 41, as we close out this chapter, we have a couple of checklists for folks to run through in terms of getting mindset right. But you have an action plan that people should consider doing. And the first one is, you reckon that people should sit down and document their personal values and goals so they get a better understanding of where they are and where they want to go.
Yeah, look, I mean, and to help with that, we also have a really good list of inspiring ideas about what's important to you. So it sort of gets the juices flowing around what, aligning, and documenting. Some people call it a vision board, and I quite like that idea in terms of, those money values and those personal alignment, because at the end of the day, money will not buy you happiness, everyone. It is a complete lie if anyone tells you it'll buy you happiness. If you align it to personal values and to events and memory building and, sharing, again, the biggest commodity in the world is love and friendship. Okay. You align it with that and you're unstoppable. And having enough money is important to be able to do some of those things, because I do believe people would be sitting and say, if I had more money, I'd feel happier. And in some cases, there is a research that does measure, but there is a tipping point where there is just no extra benefit you get out of having the most amount of money you have. And that comes back to what we talk about in terms of our 7 stages of, wealth and happiness, right? In terms of what that looks like. So I think that's good. So yes, there's some action steps there. We won't give them all away, but you can see them in the book there in terms of what you need to do to set yourself up. Because guess what? This information in here, this checklist, is a motivator. It should basically allow you to take that action, which was what we were talking about, to get to the next chapter.
Yeah, very good, Ben. So that's there you go, folks. That's chapter 1. We are going to go through this chapter by chapter and give you the key takeaways that we have from this book, because it's really been an evergreen book that allows you to understand how to build a portfolio during pandemic times, Ben, during normal times, in the 70s, in the 2020s, all those sorts of things. So we're going to give people an opportunity, Ben, to listen to us. Let us know if this content is worthwhile, what you'd like us to do. But Ben, you and I have bought some copies of these books that we want to give away for free.
We do, Bryce.
So here's the deal. We've paid for the book. So all we ask for is for folks to pay for the postage and the handling. And if they're prepared to do that, we will send this book out to you. So it's very simple where you need to go. We just put up a little slide now that Stiggy might help us with.
We'll put the slide up for us, Stiggy.
Which is essentially the Armchair
Just
guide.
Professional. How professional are we? She can't hear, obviously. She's not on her phone. You're not on the Facebook Live. Can't believe it.
So is that up there, Ben?
Yeah, I believe it's up. Yes, I believe it's up there.
So if you go to the armchairguide.com.au, we will give you a copy of the book. We've got a few hundred copies of this, Ben. We bought some from the publisher. So if you're prepared to pay for the shipping and handling, we will send it out to you. But we will continue to read out the highlights from each of these chapters as we make our way through the book, Ben. So stick around for that, folks. We'll make that possible. But if you want to fast track and get your hands on it sooner, go get your own copy. And we've bought the book for you. All you need to do is pay for the postage and handling. Hey, Ben, the next chapter is the psych. Oh, there we go. The next chapter that we're going to go
off screen. There we go.
The next chapter we're going to do is the psychology of investing, Ben, which we're going to talk about the 4 foundational levers. So I'd certainly encourage folks to stick around. And exactly, I like the analogy.
That's almost a dance.
Mate, that is. Mate, if you do the shopping trolley for us, or the sprinkler, then we'd be really going off. So, folks, there we go. Hopefully that's a benefit to you. The Armchair Guide to Property Investing, Chapter 1 was building the foundation. Next time we're going to do the 4 foundational levers, Ben. So if you want to check out more information, we have a podcast that goes out each and every Thursday at 3 p.m. You can go to thepropertycouch.com.au to check that out, Ben, or go to wherever you have your favourite place to listen to podcasts. We're there each and every week, Ben. But until next time we read out a chapter, Ben.
Get your book so you can follow us reading the chapter.
Exactly.
No, knowledge is empowering, but only if you act on it.
Very good. There you go, folks. See you next time.